This video is brought to you by Helix. It doesn't matter how you felt about Mickey 17, you probably agree that Bong Joon is one of the best filmmakers working today. In about a week, I'll be going into production on my own short film, and I wanted to follow in the footsteps of director Bong by following his movie watching routine. In a masterclass for Chapman University, Bong stated that he watches a film at 5 in the morning almost every day. He does so because it's before anyone else in his family is awake. So now, I'm gonna try it. But let's see what we learn and how this goes. It'll be an experiment to see if I come out a better person, or maybe, just maybe, a better director. So it's about 5 p.m. on Monday. I was so tired this morning that I decided I would do all my talking later. The wordle was booty today, which is epic. Anyway, I started this challenge with Schindler's List. Schindler's List is one of those legendary films I've never seen until now. It's been sitting in the watch list collecting dust for years. And while my original plan for today was to watch Notting Hill, another classic I've never seen, I saw Schindler's List on the homepage and I thought, when else am I gonna have over 3 hours to spare? Now is the time. And that's the first thing to note about this challenge. Usually during a 3-hour plus film, in the back of my mind, I start to wander just a little bit, at least before and after the film. I'm thinking about how that viewing experience takes up a huge part of my day. 3 hours isn't nothing. Usually I have to plan an entire night around it if I'm planning to watch a 3-hour plus movie. So to watch one in the morning, at 5 in the morning, was really interesting. I felt so unconcerned with the rest of my day and how it factored into my schedule because it literally didn't. It didn't make a dent. Just me and the film, no feeling that I could be doing something more important with my time. Another thing, I really expected to be pretty sleepy during this, but I didn't struggle once. I was locked in. I've seen a lot of Spielberg interviews, even that whole documentary, and how a lot of his work ties back to this film, how it's undeniably the most important film he's ever made as a filmmaker. All that in mind, nothing could have prepared me for how harrowing of an experience this was. Everything from the cinematography to the performances to the music is immaculately done. I think it's a little too early to call this my personal favorite from Spielberg, but I don't think it's crazy to say that this is him at his peak. Everything else is anywhere from good to exceptional, but this feels like his rawest film. This thing hurts. Watching it at 5 a.m., certainly a choice. Definitely a choice, but kind of paid off. Kind of ended up being a great idea. The whole day has been kind of foggy and off. I went to the gym earlier and I was like, none of these people know I watched Schindler's List this morning. It's a fucked up thing to do, I got to admit. I don't know if I would actually fully recommend it, but at the same time, I think the weirdness of this viewing and the quietness of 5 a.m. played into how personal this film felt for the filmmaker. I felt like I was getting to know someone through watching this in a weird way. I'm gonna go take a nap now. If there's anything that's gone downhill since doing this challenge, it's my Wordle, because that was one of the most hellish rounds I've ever had. Woke up today not feeling entirely rested. It was all fun and games yesterday, but the fact that I'm doing it again today, it really started to hit this morning. I think I'm gonna watch a much lighter movie, I will say. I don't think Schindler's List was the move, although, you know, now that I'm here, I really am like, I'll watch anything. I will watch literally anything. This morning, though, I'm leaning The Notebook. It's not one I've ever seen before. It's another big one on my list. I know it's not like a good time, but it seems like a better time than Schindler's List. It has to be. Today I decided to watch The Notebook. I think I've decided I want to switch it up every day to make this challenge a little bit more interesting, to try and figure out which genre or style of film is best to watch at this hour. And I can confirm that the sappy romance vibe of The Notebook is not ideal. Firstly, worst Ryan Gosling performance I've ever seen. Not a bad performance, but for him, by Ryan Gosling standards, this was pretty lackluster. I can't believe for a lot of people, this is probably the first and only Ryan Gosling movie they had seen until probably La La Land. Not a great example of who he is as an actor. Rachel McAdams, on the other hand, really quite good, very expressive, and adds a lot of personality to a script that really needs it. They were good together. I warmed up to their chemistry throughout the film. Was not sold on it at the beginning, though. I thought the Ferris wheel thing was kind of silly. This is directed by Nick Cassavetes, by the way. Yes, that Cassavetes, which feels worth bringing up only because it feels as far away from a John Cassavetes movie as possible. If Cassavetes feels like the most authentic version of cinema, this is somewhere on the opposite side of the spectrum. There are moments here that got to me. I did like Ryan Gosling's monologue near the end. I thought his character got a lot more interesting throughout. But if you can't tell, I was a bit whatever on this. It really proves that when you're not as active of a filmmaker as, say, Steven Spielberg, it's going to take a lot for me to tap in 100%. Had I watched this at 8 p.m. maybe, with a glass of wine, I can see a tear or two being shed. But I can safely say romance films are just not the move at 5 in the morning. So it's 9:45 in the morning. I can't figure out what to do with the day. I've run out of things to do, and it's only 9 in the morning. What I was expecting to struggle with was sleep, but I felt extremely rested this week. I feel fine. And honestly, that's thanks to this week's sponsor, Helix. I recently got sent a mattress from Helix, and it has been an absolute life changer. It's been a long time since I've gotten a new mattress, and I didn't realize until I got this new one that I had been experiencing a lot of back pain. I got hot in the middle of the night. I was waking up in the middle of the night pretty often. Sleep is just not something I was thinking about enough, especially before making this video specifically. But I realized how much it affected my mood throughout the day. It's like, if you don't get a good night of sleep, it ruins the entire day. And a lot of that it's not a you problem. It might just be your mattress, which in my case, that's what it was. But I took this personalized quiz through Helix where it matches you up with the perfect mattress for your sleep type. I toss and turn a lot in my sleep. I'm a bit of a disturbed individual in that way. Again, I get pretty hot when I sleep. I'm not looking for something too firm or too soft. And they clocked me so hard. They were like, this guy needs the Helix Midnight. Came in the mail. The unpacking process was shockingly easy. I've been using it for like 2 weeks now, and it has saved me. It's amazing. I didn't know sleep could be this good. People say this all the time, that it's like sleeping on a cloud, but this is literally like a cloud. As soon as I hit the bed, I'm out. You're not gonna hear from me for like 8 hours. I've been hearing about Helix for a while, and when they reached out to partner with me, I kind of jumped on it. I was like, yes, absolutely. Which just speaks to the quality of their mattresses. It's like, you know how good they are, I know how good they are, and now that I've actually lived it, man, I'm not going back. Now I have to figure out how to get rid of this other mattress. Literally, it could not have come at a better time. It has saved me during this challenge. I wake up every day at 5 in the morning to watch a film, and I feel good when I do it. That should tell you all you need to know about these mattresses. Go to helix.com/Karsten Runquist or scan the QR code to get in on their spring savings event. That's 20% off site-wide. If I was in your position right now, I'd be sprinting to this website to get in on that. Thank you, Helix, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into it. I have so much respect for the 5 a.m. people now. It's really kicking in now. This is the first day I almost slept through my alarm. I did not, but I was maybe like 2 minutes late to waking up, which is not good. I know it takes, what is the saying? It takes like 10 days to develop a habit. So the fact that I'm only doing this for 5 makes me feel like it's only gonna get worse from here on out. Like, I'm not gonna be doing this long enough that I see the effect of it, that I like am able to develop a habit out of it. I'm just gonna see the the hardest parts. And so today I'm kind of feeling like something disturbing, something pretty fucked up. Maybe not necessarily a horror movie, but maybe Dancer in the Dark. I've heard some crazy things about it. Anything after Schindler's List is a walk in the park. So how bad could it be? I'm recording this one on a handy cam because it just felt right. I don't know what I was thinking with this one. What a mistake. I think after The Notebook, I wanted to feel sort of alive again. I needed to feel like a pulse and needed to go in the complete opposite direction of whatever like safe cinema is. I needed to find the most extreme and unpleasant. For some reason, that's what I thought Dancer in the Dark would be. I thought it would be kind of like energizing and exhilarating. I don't know why I thought that, because I really wouldn't consider anything I've seen from Lars von Trier to be that. This was unpleasant in a completely different way from Schindler's List, which is a crazy thing to say, but Schindler's List was, at the end of the day, a film with the goal of being seen and being felt by a wide audience. It was extremely dark material, yes, but the storytelling was weirdly riveting, and it's such an interesting pairing in that way. Dancer in the Dark, on the other hand, was just a tough watch in every way. Intentionally so. But that said, I really struggled to find meaning in this the way I can easily see it in other Lars von Trier films. I really struggled with this one, man. And obviously a lot of that has to do with the 5 a.m. of it all. I was already kind of sleepy, and this wasn't boring per se. I wouldn't even say it's that slow. The constant jump cutting keeps you going. But it was about as bleak as it gets. Rarely does anything positive happen to this woman. Except for the musical sequences, which were for sure the highlight. They were also just very bizarre, especially at this hour. I couldn't even really tell if I was fully awake while watching this. Which brings me to my next point. Something to note about this challenge is everything is a bit hazy in the morning. The world outside my apartment is very quiet. I don't hear the cars driving by as often. The sky is dark outside the window. I'm still not 100% out of sleep. I don't feel fully rested, so I feel a bit foggy. And although I'm not one of those critics that like brings a notebook to screenings and takes notes while watching movies as a job has certainly made the act of watching movies a much more active one in my experience. This is if I'm watching the movie for a video or not. Like, I just naturally, it's kind of changed the way I look at movies. I think about them a lot more critically. But at 5 a.m., my brain is working at like a 4 out of 10 level. And in a way, I thought during this That should be how you watch films all the time. We should constantly be at a 4 out of 10 level. Because when you just kind of let the sound and the image and the performance wash over you without any outside distractions there, you get one of the purest experiences you can have with the film. When you're forced to watch something at 5 in the morning and you're not entirely there, there's not a lot of room to think too much about something. You just have to feel it. And what's so interesting is that this film and the Dogma 95 movement in general are in a sense after a similar type of purity with their filmmaking, stripping it down to its bare essentials. So it basically boils down to, this was kind of the best and worst thing to watch at 5 in the morning. I feel like shit. I'm gonna be in a bad mood for the rest of the day, and I've accepted that. But I'm really glad I at least tried it, you know? I tried the worst movie you could watch at this hour. I didn't want to do it today. That was like some of the best sleep I've been getting all week, if I'm going to be honest. Plan is to watch Unforgiven, a Clint Eastwood film that's been on my radar for a very long time. I'm like really excited to watch this one. Of everything I've watched this week, this is the one I'm definitely like most excited to jump into, just because I think I'm gonna like it. Part of me wants to do a comedy just to like cheer myself up a bit, do something like a little bit more on the low stakes side. I got to see the Minecraft movie later today too, so and just one L after another. I woke up on Thursday with a certain let's just enjoy ourselves attitude. Let's watch some good shit. One of those top 250 films of all time type of joints. So I watched Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. Spoiler alert, this takes the cake for best type of movie to watch at 5 in the morning. A cozy Western. Maybe cozy's not the right word, but just hits nice with a cup of coffee. Unforgiven is both one of the greatest Westerns I've ever seen, whilst also being a commentary on the Western genre at the same time. The horrors at the heart of these stories, the unspoken trauma the characters share, the addiction of it. And obviously Clint Eastwood is the right man to tell the story. It's a love letter, but there's a bitterness to it as well that makes it a dark, dark movie. I loved every second of it. This and Schindler's List had a similar quality where, unlike the rest of what I watched, I thought about them deep into the day. Again, given the nature of 5 in the morning, it feels like a separate part of your day altogether. When you watch a movie at the top of your day and then you go to work and then you go on and do your tasks, the film will just slowly fade to the back of your mind. You're more focused than ever in the moment, but how much stays with you is really hit or miss. So it says a lot about these two masterpieces that they can overcome this quality. They're such potent pieces of film that they lodge themselves into your brain for hours, sometimes days. And sometimes it takes watching something at the least preferable time of day possible to see that quality come alive. Well, it's the last day. I know you're probably disappointed that I didn't do it for 7 days and only 5. I kind of want to get back to my normal routine. As wonderful as this has been. We're finishing off the challenge with Dick. Never seen it. One that I've always wanted to see. I think it's gonna hit real nice after the last few days. I thought Unforgiven would be a bit lighter, maybe is the word. I really enjoyed it. I would probably say it's my favorite film I've watched in the challenge, but just another dark, kind of depressing movie. I really just need something else today. I need something light, something stupid, and Dick really fits the bill. Man, am I tired. I'm exhausted. This whole challenge, I can't complain. A lot of people get up at 5 in the morning and then they have to go do, a job. And this is my job for sure, but like, come on, man. I haven't had a reason to be up this early in a long time. And it's making me realize, I don't maybe need to be getting up at 5 a.m. on a regular basis. As much as I get done in the day, the more often I do it, the more exhausted I become, I'm like pretty tired this week, especially in these last 2 days, really. I've felt just so tired throughout the day. And you really have to start to wonder if the pros are outweighing the cons at a certain point, because it's like, what's the point of doing all this if I'm just gonna like feel like shit while doing it? Boy, does it feel good to be at the end of this challenge. I'm coming to you on Saturday because I just needed a day to process it all. To cap things off, I wanted to end on a light note, an actual light note. We're talking Dick. This is a film I've wanted to see for a good while now. I never realized it starred Michelle Williams and Kirsten Dunst, my two indie darlings, and it's a ton of fun, obviously. It's Dick. Something I have to say about it though, and again, I don't know if this is just 5 a.m., but is the timing in this film off to anyone else? Was this just like slightly off to anyone? The delivery of the jokes is just slightly off the entire time. It's so funny, but it doesn't sound like your typical comedy. There's something kind of weird about this one. There's something weirdly slow about it. I swear to God, I thought Dick would be the one normal movie I would watch during this challenge, and it still managed to be super weird and bizarre. I really did feel like I was high while watching it. Almost midnight movie material, weirdly. I mean, seeing Will Ferrell in a role that isn't the lead, that's just unsettling. Dick was interesting because though it wasn't my least favorite thing that I watched this week, it was probably the most forgettable. And thinking about it, that might be because of the runtime. This thing clocks in at a tight 94 minutes, the shortest of the batch. And to be honest, I was kind of looking forward to that all week. I wanted something that I could just bust out and get on with my day after the fact. But when the movie is that short, I end my morning movie experience at like 7 a.m., an early time for me to be waking up at all on a normal day. It taking up a smaller chunk of my day, it being a kind of goofy, harmless movie, this more than the rest really just blended into the back of my mind. By the time I went to sleep that night, I had completely forgotten that I had watched Dick that morning. It felt like many years ago, and that was really bizarre. I can't say the same about the rest of the films from this week. That said, I don't know if I can call a goofy comedy The Move at 5 in the morning. Even if it's the most harmless, even if it's the easiest watch of everything I watched this week, it also felt the most pointless, kind of wasted potential, like maybe this would have hit a lot harder at night. So now I come to you with the conclusion to all of this. What did we learn? Did we like this, folks? Director Bong, are you still doing this? I have to know, because that's impressive. I'm exhausted, and it's only been 5 days. Waking up at 5 a.m. every day, it doesn't actually get easier. I mean, maybe it would if I kept going at it for another week, but for just 5 days, it only got harder. All that said, I don't regret this for a second. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. Guys, waking up at 5 in the morning kind of improves your mood significantly. I hate to break it to you. Watching a movie a day and still having an entire day to get things done, maybe even having the time to watch another movie that day, feels incredible. I have to say, this challenge really gave me an experience that I've struggled to find in recent years. Watching movies in an intimate setting is tough. Yes, you can go to the theater, but oftentimes there's one or two annoying little things going on that interfere with the experience. You can watch movies at home, but that doesn't feel as special. Something comes up, you gotta pause the film. It's not the most immersive experience in the world. But watching films at home at 5 in the morning, it made movie watching feel both spiritual and, I'll say it, important. Watching movies, if you're serious about this shit, has always been important, obviously. But when you wake up at 5 a.m. to do it, you really mean business. It's just me and the movie out there. And that's special. It had the purity of watching films as a kid. What was in front of me was all that mattered in that moment. So I guess I highly recommend trying this. And given our data, go with a Western or maybe something epic, something long and intimidating, something you've been putting off for years, classic you've never seen. It's highly unlikely that you'll regret this. And that's what I got. Thanks for watching. Go watch a movie at 5 in the morning and form your own opinion, and I'll see you in the next one.